Now, continuing with domestic news, it's not all bad news, and it seems that the state of Mississippi is taking advantage of their 10th Amendment rights, the rights to nullify. God bless them. Some people would say they're evil, but in an article posted today, the headline reads, in the Clarion Ledger, the headline reads, States' Rights Pushed in Bill that would assert the sovereignty of the state. Two key lawmakers are introducing legislation called House Bill 490, and it would create a committee to help neutralize federal laws and regulations outside the scope of the powers delegated by the people to the federal government in the United States Constitution. Now, what's amazing is in the article, there was a critic of someone who actually criticized this legislation, which is completely constitutional and completely patriotic. Let's go to that criticism by a gentleman by the name of Robert McElvain. He's a professor of history at Millsaps College. He said all this bill will accomplish is to put Mississippi up for ridicule. The neutralization of federal law, he said, I am astounded to see such a measure introduced in the 21st century. Do the authors of the bill see Mississippi as part of the United States? What a ridiculous comment by this individual. Later on in the article, it says, the bill accuses the federal government of seizing power. We reject and deny this unauthorized and excessive abuse of power, which has primarily acted as a detriment to states' rights and individual rights. Well, God bless these lawmakers in Mississippi that are doing this. This is all completely constitutional, protected under the 10th Amendment, the ability to nullify. We're united in our flag. We're united in the Constitution. Each state is allowed to have free trade with one another, but we don't have to be united with one another in our social programs, in our tax codes. We don't have to be joined at the hip in everything we do. What the Founding Fathers wanted was almost like 50 countries within a union, and you're allowed to do whatever you want. Again, we can be united in our flag. We can be united with our military operations. We do not have to be united in our social programs and our gun control laws. So to the state of Mississippi, those two lawmakers, we commend you, and we hope that House Bill 490 does pass. And shame on Robert McElvain, the professor of history at Millsaps College. He should read the Constitution, the 10th Amendment. It's completely lawful and patriotic to do it. And we saw Sheriff Mack, who was a guest here at InfoWars a couple of days ago. Many sheriffs are also nullifying in relation to President Obama's assault weapons ban. Again, we don't have to be united in every social program and everything, just in the Constitution, in our military, things of that nature. Now, speaking of the Constitution, it's been under attack recently, especially from a PR perspective, because of the Sandy Hook situation and the Second Amendment. And it seems that far-left liberals, and again, you know, we don't think Republicans are good either, but it seems that more liberals in the media are mocking the Constitution. The comedian Joe Rogan, he's a patriot, but he said in his podcast, we need to rewrite the Constitution or revamp it. It's an old document, you know, and we're fans of Joe Rogan, but he has said that. And yesterday, CBS, in a CBS newscast, people like this individual, he's a professor at Georgetown University. His name is Louis Michael Seidman. They're saying the Constitution has to be updated or done away with. It's completely ridiculous. We mentioned the comedian Joe Rogan. He's normally a patriot. He says we have to rewrite that. And we're now going to go to a video from another hip and trendy individual who we should be more like. That's what the left tells us. Bill Maher, who also is criticizing the Constitution.
Yeah, but that was a long time ago.
It's a pretty good little document, though. It's working pretty good so far.
You know, a lot of it is bull.
No,
it really is.
And they
laugh.
I mean, the Second Amendment is bull. The way they interpret the Second Amendment, the left completely forgot how to interpret. You know, that really was about militias.
Yeah.
At a time when, you know, it was a battle between the states and the federal government.
So hip and trendy.
It wasn't really about a private citizen owning a handgun.
And there you go, and it goes on and on. It's about a one minute little bit that you can see. He mocks the Constitution, but I've always noticed that Bill Maher always defends the First Amendment. And the reason why is not because he's a nice individual, it's because he's a self-centered individual. And that affects his life because he's a comedian. But he's always had a mediocre career. We used to like Bill Maher, myself, when he used to be a libertarian, but about 5-6 years ago, he really became an operative for the Democratic Party, and like a child, believes in socialized medicine, believes in high taxation for the rich. I don't believe the rich, I do think there are loopholes, and that needs to be done away with. That's crony capitalism. But I believe in low taxation for everyone. But there you go. Now the hip and trendies are saying, you know what? The Constitution just isn't hip and trendy. It's not hip and trendy anymore, so we need to do away with that. So that's footage of Bill Maher.
Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.